What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. Well, let's go to Aqueduct on Saturday, December 7th. It'll be race 7 on the card. It's the Grade 2 Remsen Stakes. Going a mile and an eighth, $250,000 the purse. We've got a smaller field this year, a field of just 7 horses. But as we've kind of learned, maybe it doesn't produce the Kentucky Derby winner, but it has produced horses that have gone on to win big-time races. And, of course, last year, Dornoch was in this race. He was the winner and was able to win at the Haskell and, of course, at the Belmont Stakes. And then Sierra Leone, who made all kinds of impacts on the 2 of the 3 Triple Crown races, at least, but not winning. And then same impact over the summer, couldn't win, but was right there close. Then won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Those were your top 2 finishers. Hard to believe that a Remsen, a race that a lot of people like to kind of just ignore, what that produced last year, incredible, with the Haskell winner, a Belmont Stakes winner, the Breeders' Cup Classic winner, not to mention races like the Bluegrass and the Fountain of Youth as well. So great race last year. Let's see if it is this year. I'm not quite sure that it's what I would call a great race, but I do think there's some good horses in here and some horses that are kind of on the upside, if for lack of a better term. So let's get to it. Quit the rambling and let's talk about it. Field of 7 here. We'll go through them one by one. Then I'll give you my winner at the end. And we'll start with number 1, Tux. This is a very interesting horse trained by Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado aboard for the 2nd straight race. This horse last time out, first race, debut race right here at Aqueduct, going 6.5 furlongs. Impressive, very impressive winner. Won by 3.5. Bill Mott runners usually improve in their second starts. They can win on debut for sure, but the second start is when we usually see what they're kind of going to be, or at least early in the career, what they're going to be. I expect improvement. However, 6.5 furlongs to a mile and an eighth, just the second start. I mean, that's kind of a little shaky. It's kind of tough to do that, but the horse is by Tappet. That's good. Out of a Munnings mare, so that's kind of iffy as far as the distance goes, but I expect the horse to improve off of that nice debut. One thing to note, the speed figures, no matter what you look at, they didn't come back all that fast for Tux. So that could be a little bit of an issue. I don't really know what was behind him. A lot of debut runners, except for the horse that got second, who have been running, but not running very well. So if that horse was able to get second, or the first-time starter is not very good in that race, maybe. So that's some things to think about. I don't really know morning line and out. I don't know what kind of odds you're going to get on him. You need to get a decent price on him if you're going to play him, because there are some unknowns, but it was a pretty good debut. I think he'll get better. The number 2 is Aviator Guy. And this is a horse that 2 races back on an off the turf event at Belmont at the Big A was able to get the job done, win by a length and a maiden special weight. On debut, he was 3rd at Saratoga. The tough horses usually have to, you go up against at Saratoga, including Innovator. A horse that I'll talk about a little bit later on another video. So, 2 races on the NYRA circuit on the dirt with a win and a 3rd, not bad. Moved him to the turf last time out to run at Belmont at the Big A here in the Wad Stakes. Didn't run all that well. Got 4th, beaten 3 as a 7-2 choice. Back to the dirt. We know he can handle it. It's just that none of his races have been overly impressive up to this point. I think going a mile and an eighth will probably be okay. He's by Uncle Mo out of a Tappet mare, so should be able to get the distance. I'm just not sure he's good enough. That's kind of where I landed on him. Number 3, Poster, is very intriguing. This horse has had 2 races, both wins, but both came over the turf. So on debut, won at Ellis Park in a maiden special weight and did it pretty nicely. Second start at Keeneland in an allowance race was even better. Showed improvement, won by 3. So 2 races, 2 easy wins. He really wasn't in danger of losing in the stretch either of these races. Now we're going to the dirt. It's a horse that's by Munnings out of a Tappet mare. So again, you've got kind of a sprinter-ish on the top with a really good distance pedigree on the bottom. So might be okay. Really kind of bred to be okay on the dirt. Gets Flavian Pratt aboard, which has not been on this horse yet. Rafael Bejarano's rode this horse 2 straight races. Now Pratt jumps on. There's a lot of signs that this horse is going to run really well. The problem, and again, you have that unknown. We don't really know what he's going to do on the dirt. His works lately have been at Turfway over the synthetic, so you can't gather much for that. And I say lately, what I should have said is every work has been over the synthetic at Turfway. Look, I don't know. Again, a lot of question marks, but a lot of good signs as well. If we see a loss here, if we see a race that wasn't very good, do we kind of just go back to Turfway and run in that kind of Kentucky Derby prep series? Maybe. I could see that happening. So keep an eye on him. If you don't want to play him today, I get it. But I think, down the road, don't forget about Poster. He's looked pretty good. We'll see if he can handle the dirt in this spot. The number 4 is Studlydoright. This is a horse that everybody knows if you've been following the NYRA circuit. Of course, won on the Belmont Festival of Racing, when they did that up at Saratoga, won the Tremont. Went on to lose 3 races in a row. Really, the hopeful was a low point for this horse, finished 7th. But other than the hopeful, he's hit the board. Well, he's finished 1st or 2nd in all of his races, including last time out. They ran him in the Nashville Stakes, is the local prep for this. His form had kind of gotten dirtied up after 3 straight losses. Pretty sharp victory last time out. Got a nice win going a mile, stretching out to a mile for the 2nd time. Had a race at Laurel at a mile as well. So, most experience of anybody in the race, 5 or 6 have finished 1st or 2nd, 3 of 6 of winning. I've always just kind of viewed him, and maybe this isn't right to do, but I always kind of viewed him just a small cut below like the better horses that are going to be in this crop this year. This horse is by Nyquist out of a Curlin mare, so it should be able to stretch out and maybe improve going a mile and an 1/8. So last time out was a big race. I think if he can run that kind of race, he's in with a shot. I still am just not totally sold on this horse, and that's probably a me problem more than a problem with the horse. The number 5 is Keewaydin, and Keewaydin is coming off of a nice win, a maiden special weight win, where he looked pretty solid, winning by 1 3/4 lengths. It was 10 lengths back to the 3rd place horse, the 2nd place horse, Volt. Like I said, he was a 1 3/4 lengths ahead of him, but then it was 10 lengths back behind Volt. So they kind of ran away with it. Keewaydin also debuted in a maiden special weight race that I've talked about several times on the show. It was on Travers Day, a maiden special weight right there at Saratoga. Many really good horses ran in that race. So what happened? Tip Top Thomas won the race. He went back to run 2nd in the Champagne. Rookie Card was 2nd. He later on won in his 3rd career start. And then Keewaydin was 2nd in that race. He came back to win. Keewaydin was 3rd in the race. He came back to win, like we just mentioned. Sovereignty came back 2 races later and won the Streetsend Stakes at at Churchill Downs. He was 4th in that race. So, we just go on down the road here, and there were some really good horses in that race. The top 4 finishers, if you remember from that race, really ran strongly. So Keewaydin obviously backs up what I kind of thought that day that race happens. Like, wow, they've waited to debut some nice ones here. And so now, with the win at Belmont at the Big A last time out, kind of backs that up. The horse will stretch out to 2 turns for the first time. He ran 6 furlongs that day at Saratoga, 7 furlongs last time out, now going a mile and an 1/8. The pedigree is going to be interesting with this one. He's by Instagram, and we just don't know a ton about what he's going to produce, obviously, just yet. But, he was a horse that had a pedigree that said he could probably go a little bit further than he ended up doing because he kind of got hurt. But, we'll see. And then by an officer mare, and not I don't think it's just screaming a mile and an 1/8, but I also think if it wasn't screaming a mile and an 1/8, or if Chad Brown didn't think this horse could get a mile and an 1/8, he wouldn't be here, because there's a lot of options for horses this time of year. You could always just sit and wait for a race like the Jerome at a mile, and maybe that would be just fine. I don't know. I just feel like this is a horse that if Chad's entered him, he probably thinks he can get the distance. So the number 6 is Surfside Moon. This horse, just hasn't shown a whole lot. It took 3 times to break the maiden. He did do it on the turf at Delaware Park after 2 failed attempts at Delaware on the dirt. Went back, ran in a stakes at Laurel, same race that Studlydoright was in, and just did not run very well. Got 5th there. Went back to the turf, ran 6th last time out. Now we're back to the dirt. It's no interest for me on the 6. And then the number 7 is Gun Trader, and this is another one I just have failed to have a lot of interest in. It took 6 starts, but the horse did break the maiden and did at Parks. The races all have been at Parks or Delaware for this one, and that I'm not against that, but every figure that came back, even his winning race where he won the race, that figure was just not great. So again, ultimate long shot for me. I just can't have any interest in the 6 or the 7. So who do I have interest in? I'm going to go the number 5, Keewaydin, on top. It's hard for me right now to go against horses that are exiting out of that Traverse Day maiden race, and it's been working just fine. Sovereignty was a big pick that won the street since, and I had Rookie Card. Unfortunately, Rookie Card lost. I had him, and then I had him again when he won. So unfortunately, I had Tip Top Thomas in the Champagne, and he just couldn't hold off Chancer McPatrick. So it hasn't been, fool's proof by any means, but these horses are running and running well. And even when they're losing, those top four have really ran tremendous races. So Keewaydin for me, I think he's going to be tough in here. I do think Studlydoright stretching out to 1 mile and an eighth will be interesting. And you can probably hear my voice. I'm interested in Poster, the 3 horse as well. I think Flavian Pratt getting aboard is very interesting to me. So I am I'm interested in Poster. Let's see what he does here. He's interesting as well. So, but on top, I'm going to go with the number 5, Keewaydin for Chad Brown. All right, guys, that'll do it for our preview of the Remsen Stakes. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting Aqueduct on Saturday.